I wanted to continue on something I mentioned at the end of the last video. So maybe in May of this year, I was dating this girl and she said that she was going to a Sabrina Carpenter concert. Now, I've never listened to a single song by this person. I don't know where they came from, but I'll tell you this. I know the name. And I get randomly recommended clips of her on like Instagram or something. And all these clips or news stories about her, she's from looking at her shows and what she says, she seems very I don't know how to say this. It's like she's craving. It's like, you know what I mean? Like very adult content. Like sometimes even at her shows, I saw a clip of her bending down and she was like, and like this guy in front of her, but I don't know what it's called, bro, a sandwich, right? And it's like, don't get twisted, by the way. I'm not hating. I think she's pretty. From the clips I've heard, the songs sound good. I just haven't sat down and listened to a full song. I don't really listen to music like that anyway, so it's not nothing against her. And also, a lot of artists are like that with their choreograph, right? High energy dancing with the adult themes in their music or behavior. Anyway, so the girl I was dating, she was going to a concert of hers, and I paid for her tickets, right? So I was with my friend, and we were driving to the city together, and he was asking me in the car, he was like, yo, Andre, how's the shorty treating you? You know what I'm saying? Who you dating now? You know what I'm saying? Because you've been going on dates lately. And I was telling him, yeah, you know, this girl I'm dating now, I just bought her tickets to Sabrina Carpenter show. And he's like, word? Where? And I told him. And he's like, huh? At what time? And I said, I don't know. And I gave him the time, right? I looked on my phone, the ticket, whatever. And he's like, oh, yeah. Yo, my daughter's going there too. I'm like, Shraggy? Wait. Your daughter is going to a Sabrina Carpenter show? Isn't your daughter 14? And he's like, yeah, that Sabrina girl, she's a bit freaky and all that. My daughter loves her though. And I'm just thinking to myself, man, listen, some of these stage bits might be too, you know, like, I don't know about letting your teenage 14-year-old daughter go there and see some of this stuff. I mean, it's not like Sabrina's gonna like go up there. Sabrina's gonna go on stage and like bust it open. Like, you know what I mean? But there are a lot of adult punches going on here, at least again from the clips I've seen or whatever, right? Or how she talks or whatever. Now, again, I don't have any sort of animosity towards the artist. I can't blame the artists for how they present their music or themselves, or how they evolve and express their art. This is like blaming TV shows for being adult themed, but blaming them because you're mad your kids are watching the show. Like when I was younger, 10 to 12 years old, my mom would be watching Family Guy in South Park on the couch, and she let us watch. A 12-year-old kid watching an adult show. Would it be fair to be mad at the show? Should I write a letter to Family Guy or South Park for being existing? You know what I'm saying? If I learn things from those shows. So when he said, which I don't think is justified, by the way, you shouldn't be doing that. But like when he said he's allowing his 14-year-old daughter to go to the show, I was like, huh? At first. But then I thought about it a bit more. Like, yeah, we could have the discussion about how early exposure to certain themes can be impressionable to young minds. Sure. But most of the time, even when I was younger, listening to certain songs, all those lyrics and visuals, it flew over my head until I was older. Like, I didn't get half of the stuff going on. Actually, I'll say 3/4 of these lyrics. Some stuff I understood, but I was able to handle it. But it never made me want to copy or do exactly what I hear in these songs or that I saw in a music video, you know? I played GTA San Andreas as a kid. They literally tried to ban that game for being too violent and having crazy themes going on. But I'm not finna do exactly what I saw in that game. Man, we talking about ain't no ballers going on. We ain't doing none of this stuff, just drive-bys, you know what I'm saying? Some things I did adopt when I was a kid, but it wasn't impressionable where I didn't have a consciousness to know what is good and what is bad not to do. Just because this girl is going to a Sabrina Carpenter concert, it doesn't mean she's gonna grow up and copy her exact narrative in these songs or lyrics. She can just enjoy the music. How many of y'all listen to crash out music? I only do when I'm like driving sometimes. Like sometimes, like I don't listen to music that often, but sometimes I'll put on, man, people be listening to Young Boy, King Von, or any drill rapper. But you ever listen to those songs? You live the complete opposite life though. It doesn't even affect you. You just listen. You just like how it sounds, the chaotic nature of the lyrics, the vibe of the song. You're not going to turn into a clone. Unfortunately, some people do though. And I feel like that happens for people who are lacking their own identity to begin with. You know, they consume so much of a certain person while their life is without a compass, and they just end up trying to be that same exact person they idolize. I understand like a trend is active right now because of a certain thing going on in like pop culture or whatever, so like people sort of adopt that. But like, you know, some people, they literally try to mimic someone else's life because they idolize that rapper or whatever. And like, you don't even know, because some of these people, we know that a lot of these like rappers or whatever, these people, like, first of all, a lot of people don't even write half of their songs, okay? But even though some do, their lifestyle is completely opposite of what they're rapping about or what they're talking about in these songs. So I feel like the boundary to what is exposed to kids, at least what I would do with my kids, like I said, at first I was confused about his daughter going to the show, but I had to think about it a bit more and be grounded about it. If I was in my friend's shoes, I'd probably be like, hey, you know what? Hey, little daughter Aku, you can go to the show. I don't care. But I might be hesitant at first because I got to do my research. I question it. Is whatever they want to do or go to an 18 plus event? If so, they can't go. like I'm not going to sneak you into an 18 plus event. What? But when we talk about mature themes being presented to an audience, like, you know, we see mature themes in like PG-13 stuff, TV-14, those ratings, right? Whatever. There would be a limit to how much exposure I'd be okay with. And I would have to monitor how it would affect my child. If an adult show or game or whatever is causing my child to mimic those same exact things that a child shouldn't be doing or saying, then we're going to have a problem. If my daughter, hypothetically, I don't have a daughter, but if my daughter in the future is listening to Sexy Red, whatever, you listen. Hey, but if she starts doing the wild stuff she saw in a Sexy Red music video, I'm going to be aggravated. But who can I blame for that? I can't be mad at Sexy Red. This is what I meant about the identity thing, though. Like, you can see stuff without copying. You can enjoy something without contributing to it. You can consume something without encouraging it. And that's something that maybe this whole conversation needs to flow by. Understanding co-viewership and show what behavior to model. Sometimes it's best to do co-viewership because if you're going to go to a Sexy Red concert, right? Like, let's say a hypothetical daughter, she's going to go to a Sexy Red concert, for example, right? You know, unfortunately, this is the thing. I wouldn't let her go alone, you know? Like, I unfortunately have to go with her. She's not going to a Sexy Red concert alone. What the heck? Like, or go with your mom or something. What the frick? Why do I have to go? But, like, there are times where you have to explain something to them, you know? And that may be an awkward conversation. So, like, we could be jamming, let's say, another situation. Let's say I'm in the car with, like, my hypothetical son or something, and we're listening to a drill song, right? But, like, I'd also explain to my son or daughter in the car, hey, listen, this is hitting right now. But, yo, this isn't something you want to participate or get involved in, you know? Like, I'm not going to kill the vibe and just be like, hey, we listen to a song. Yeah, this is fire, but don't do this. Like, I'm not going to, like, you got to understand, this is storytelling to people with trauma who grew up in an unwanted situation. Yeah, it sounds cool, ops this, ops that, but it's not a favorable lifestyle. And I would just break it down further. Like, we'll have this conversation like once or twice, and then after that, you know, I'd hope you understand the significance of why we had this conversation so we could separate reality from the art, you know? By the way, I don't date that same girl who I bought those tickets for, you know? What's funny is that, this is the thing, every girl I've ever met who was really a fan of Sabrina, they're like, how can I describe their personality? It's like, it's strange. They're always like very energetic in the sense where they're always like, it's not a bad thing, by the way. Their personality is very bouncy, flirty, and strangely, they have like zero chill. It's like they're always caffeinated, you know, like super caffeinated, buzzed off of something. Half of them seem to be romantic crash outs as well. But hey, like I said, it's not a bad thing. I don't dislike that. But listen, they also have this obsession with like iced coffee. So probably that explains the caffeination issue. So here we go with that. Anyway, that's how I feel about this. I wanted to talk about this at the end of the last video, but you know, it was just gonna get off topic too much. So this episode is found on Spotify and YouTube. I'm out.